Hi there and welcome back to Addvansure Girl. There haven't been too many adventures lately. That's because Queensland, like New South Wales, is now in lockdown. And at first I thought, okay, this means lockdown, can't go anywhere, can't video. And then I thought, no, life's much too precious to be put on hold for lockdown. So I carry on with part 2 of how to live in Brisbane, especially since Brisbane has just won the bid for the Olympic Games. And today I'm going to start with two things: the climate and the river. Climate first, because you can't go far without noticing this climate. Brisbane is in the state of Queensland, and one of the slogans for that state is beautiful one day, perfect the next. And that pretty well describes this climate. It's more sheltered than the southern cities, Sydney and Melbourne, from the cold, and it's also sheltered from the heat waves coming in from the desert. So what this means is the number of sunshine days a year, about 283, almost exactly identical to that of California. It has a summer average daytime temperature of about 29, with occasional bursts up to 40. It also has some sudden outbursts of torrential summer rain. In fact, epic floods are part of Brisbane's history. Some famous ones in the 1870s, also 1974 and 2011. The floods are caused not just by the rain, but by the river. And to me, the river is an icon. It is through the city, snakes through like a giant brown snake. The shape, the meander, is a bit like the Amazon River through the jungle, or maybe more like the Thames winding through London. There are something like 16 bridges across this river and many river ferries that really help the public transport. And if you look more closely at the pattern of the meandering of this river, you'll see that there was a tight loop here, and it was right at this point that the authorities decided to establish that convict colony in 1824, thinking that the sides of the river, 3 sides at least, would provide something like a moat to stop the convicts escaping. And that's still where the CBD is today. One area that has recently become very popular because perhaps of its affordability is to the south, Logan City. This area is booming, and the Logan City Council has agreed to spend $1 billion on infrastructure in the area. I'd set up an interview with an agent who's sold 56 properties in 27 suburbs across the Logan area in the last financial year. But alas, due to lockdown, that interview has to wait a while. So meanwhile, I'm going to share with you a secret of a way that I've found to live in Brisbane that doesn't cost quite so much. A cabin. Why am I looking for a cabin? You'll find out in just a moment. This is Addvansure Girl, my channel where I travel to the coolest places and meet with the craziest people. And on my last trip, which was to go from Hobart in Tasmania to Brisbane in Queensland, I spent a lot of time thinking about how good it would be if I had a permanent spot somewhere in Brisbane where I could set out from on my future travels. Something like just a very teeny tiny cabin. And it so happened that the people I was staying with, actually relations by marriage, happened to have a really large backyard, and they'd already thought they'd like to put a cabin there and have someone living in it. Well, guess what? It's going to be my cabin, and I'm going to be living there. And today I'm setting off in my van to see if I can find that cabin. Actually, I had found on eBay a cabin I thought might be suitable, and I'd arranged to go and meet the man who makes these cabins. Looking forward to meeting this cabin man, because from speaking to him on the telephone, he sounds like he's a really interesting person, and I'd like to know a lot more about him and how he's come to be making these amazing cabins.
How did I get into making cabins? I sort of stumbled up on it, to be honest, about 25 years ago. Came to Queensland, no job, so started. People asked me, can you do a food van? So I've done a food van. Started working for the Maya Centre, just designing the food courts, helping out there. I've done a lot of contracts on food courts, specialising in kebab shops and etc. Bit of an entrepreneur, I've done anything and everything. I'm a traveller. I play poker, I'm pretty good at it. I built a cabin for a friend one time about 25 years ago, and then next thing you know, I'm building for everybody now. Got into the building industry basically through a friend who wanted a granny flat built. We ended up building him a granny flat, and then so on. One became two became 80. I don't know how many I've done over the years. I am semi-retired. I do about 2 or 3 cabins a year. I don't take on too much work. Basically, it's a hobby job for me, so I don't advertise or anything. All my work is for referrals. Yeah, I'm just having fun.
And I'm having fun too, dreaming about how beautiful it would be to wake up every morning under these trees, well, at least 283 mornings of the year, to this blue, blue sky. So from now on, I'm going to be planning, working out how I can get the cabin here to Logan City and how I can start to make that dream come true.